purpose of reincarnation is to experience life. So why are we here? Why are we reincarnated our body into this life? So what's the purpose of reincarnation? In our previous life, we all have our previous life, right? Maybe we were born many times. I don't know how many times. So we all have our previous life. But why are we here again? We did not fully experience life in our previous life. We did not fully master how to love. We did not fully master how to give. We did not fully master how to forgive, how to embrace others. We did not fully master how to understand each other and how to live in the present moment. Not mention about previous life. In the current life, there's so many mistakes that we make. Have we learned from those mistakes? So if we can learn from the mistake and try to rectify our mistake, that's called experience life. That's called living in the present moment. But we don't want to constantly remember the past. The past is to help us to build up us so that we can manifest our present moment. Focus on our present moment so that we can enjoy life. In Buddhism, there's many teaching about the three poisons, the greed, the aversion, the ignorance. The concept of greed is that you have what I don't have, therefore I become greedy. So you have what I don't have. I'm comparing what you have. But if I don't compare, I just focus on what I have. I focus in my life at this present moment, there will be no greed. And talking about aversion, I don't like you, I dislike you, I resent you because you did this to me. You lied to me, you did such things to me. But if we focus in the present moment, we let go of the past, then we will not have this anger, we will not have this resentment, right? And talking about ignorance, ignorance is mostly about the future. We sometimes have illusion about our life. Oh, I wish I can live in a better house. I wish I can have a better marriage. I wish my kids can go to better school. I wish my chicken can give me more eggs. I wish this and I wish that. Sometimes people ask me, oh, do you milk your cow? Do you milk your sheep? I say, I don't. I wish I can milk my sheep so that I don't have to buy the milk from the supermarket. I wish this and I wish that. If we live in the present moment, you see, we will not have so much wishing. We focus in the present moment. We will not have so much ignorance about our future fairy tale, our future expectation. This is a picture of lint remover. So if we live in our past, that will be like carrying this with us all the time. I carry this when I talk to Robert, and I use my lint holder, and then I go around Robert one time. So I pick up everything that I don't like about Robert, and I pick up everything that I don't like about myself. I pick up everything from the restroom. I pick up all the dust, whatever. So everything that I pick up, it becomes part of the lint roller. And imagine this is our life. We pick up so many things from the past. Does that leave any empty space for the lint roller? It doesn't. So it's very important to be free from the past. Imagine if you are eating a meal. Say your spouse make you a delicious meal. You are eating this meal, but then in your mind, you are playing this sad movie constantly. Can you enjoy the food? I'm sure we all have this experience. And then we will tell our spouse, I'm sorry, I cannot eat. Thank you for the food, but I cannot eat because we in our mind, we play this movie and we lose our appetite. We all have that kind of experience. So it's very important to experience our present moment with a refreshing and evolving mind, because present moment, it keeps coming. The past always keep rolling, and the future, it's also continue rolling too. You want to think of it, it's like a machine with three components, and this machine, the components are constantly moving, and right in front of us is that present moment, and that present moment big component of that machinery, and it's constantly evolving. All the religious leaders tell us that we want to focus on the present moment, especially in Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching, experiencing the present moment like a baby, like a baby. I should say that if it's a happy baby, the baby will be so exciting to meet somebody that the baby is acquaintance to. But sometimes if a stranger comes, the baby will also give a smile too. So the baby does not have this memory bank, does not have this movie in the mind. Everything is clean, it's clear, it's fresh, and it has no baggage. But we have a lot of baggage, right? So that's why a lot of religious leaders tell us that we want to practice living in the present moment. And then empty, meaning that we have this empty bag. And this empty bag allow us to put in whatever things that we allow it to. So there's no judgment, there's no differentiation. Just whatever comes, we take it, we accept it, whether it's good moment or a bad moment. I remember when I was in my 30s, I have my two children. Right now I have two teenagers, but I remember when I was in my 30s, I have two kids, and I was not living in the present moment. I feel that I was living in hell because it was so much laboring involved. I work, I have to get up maybe 6 o'clock in the morning, prepare them for school, make breakfast, and then sometimes pack them lunch, send them to school, and then rush back to work. When I go home, and I send them to after school. And when I go home, but I have to go pick up them. After I pick up them, there's a YMCA that I need to take them to for swimming. So before I take them to YMCA, because the class starts at 7, they finish school at 5 to prepare the dinner, and we eat dinner in the car, and I rush them to the swimming session. We have dinner, and then I waited for them for the swimming session in the YMCA. So I watched them swim, and then it was just like painful experience. I was working like robot. I did not enjoy my kids at all. It was just not a good time. And then there was one time we went to take family photography in Sears. Back then Sears they are still on. Right now it's already closed. Sears have this coupon for family photo. So I take my family there. My kids are small, and everybody's dressed up. And I say that, okay, this is family photo time. I need to make sure everybody smiles. So I was very tense. I was not enjoying that moment. And then here comes another family. And this family, I can see that the parents and the kids are like teenager, two teenagers. So then they look at my kids, so cute. And they say, oh, how cute is your kids? I say, oh, yeah, thank you very much. And I'm thinking like, these two are monster, my God. So the parents told me that I remember very well. The father say, oh, enjoy your kids. They are small, enjoy them. I take a deep breath. I say, oh, I think I can only enjoy them when they become adults. And I totally deny their words. I say, yeah, right, enjoy them. I'm like living like hell. So I look at my kids, I say, oh yeah, my kids is very cute, thank you, as a courtesy. But in my mind, I was not enjoying in that moment. But now my kids are teenager. Now I truly understand what it means. Enjoy your kids. Now I look at my family album. I look at my kids. I look at their baby pictures, so cute. I finally realized, oh, I should have enjoyed my present moment then. And because back then I did not enjoy the present moment, now I live in regret. Now I miss the time that they are small. so so you see, right now they are teenager, but I live in a regretful moment. I have this remorse in my mind. Why didn't I enjoy my kids when they are small? So I regret. But if I do that, if I always remember the past, then I will always be living in regret. So whatever already passed, it should be passed. Another aspect that I can imagine myself is that, say, 20 years from now, I am in my, I'll be older now. And I'm sure I will miss the time when they are teenager. So try to enjoy that moment, enjoy that present moment, because if you don't, you will always living in regret. So if we live in the present moment, there's a lot of opportunity. We will be inspired by our true self. We want to look at our present moment like a piece of paper, like a blank piece of paper, not like this image here. This image here, it has been doodled. It has been doodled. There's already some drawing on that, and there's not much space left. But if you enjoy every moment with a big blank piece of paper, every moment is beautiful. It has a lot of possibility. It has a lot of happiness. It has a lot of joy. And we don't need to choose the same road. In the past, we are accustomed to have certain habits. Say, when we go to a store, we have 3 routes that we can take. We always choose route A. We always choose route A in the past. But living in the present moment, we don't have to choose route A. Sometimes we can choose different route. We do not have to be limited by our past. We can choose other possibility too. But you don't always have to go to the store with freeway. You can take other road too. In Tao Te Ching, it has a very similar teaching. In Tao Te Ching, chapter 10, can energy be gathered to the almost tenderness, as soft as baby? We don't really have to pay much attention on the literal translation on this chapter 10, but we can understand Lao Tzu use the term baby. Baby, it's an analogy of embracing, welcoming, soft, no judgment, no discrimination. Baby welcome any experience that the adult give it to him or her, right? And baby 100% of time living in his or her true self. Baby does not live in the past. Baby live in the present moment. Baby does not think about what am I going to eat in the future. I don't like this apple. I don't like this meal. I don't like this, we used to, I used to buy baby food from the store and it tastes so nasty. But baby just focus in the present moment. If it's time to eat, the baby eats. In our life, we are always living in 2 selves. So the 2 selves, what are those 2? This one we kind of talked about it earlier, but here I want to give you a better explanation. The 2 self, one is the false self. False self is anything that has to do with our material world, anything that's physical. We can call it the false self, unrealistic, the illusion, or the small self. And all these are programmed into our life. Every human body is all programmed this way. That's why it's so easy for us to focus on our past and our future, because we are all programmed this way. And that includes a script. We all have this deep impression of our memory, our storybook, our album in our memory, right? And we all have this custom. We give ourselves a name. We have a costume, and we give ourselves names. We all have. And on the other side of the false self is the true self. True self is anything that's non-physical. There's a different name that associate with it. This name sometimes you will hear from different teacher or different religious book. It can be called true self, the big self, because it's really big. It's huge, like as big as the universe. It's the real self. It's the true self. It's the higher self. Or in Tao Te Ching, we call Tao, or in Lao Tzu called Tao. So this one has no script, has no custom, and it has no name. So false self have everything that's associated with the physical, the names. True self does not have any reference to the name. So if we constantly living in the false self, we cannot experience the present moment. We cannot experience the true self. What is cultivation? So the cultivation is it's to surpass the false self. We all have this program being built in. So we want to surpass this program. So if we can surpass this program, then we can manifest our true self. So the analogy is more like this picture here. Today we have a sunny day here in Riverside. So imagine we have this sky, and the sky is filled with clouds, and the clouds cover the sun. This is what most people in our society is. This is what most people look like. Their life is covered by their false self on the clouds. The sun cannot shine through, and the sun is the true self. If our true self cannot be seen, then we cannot experience the meaning of our life, the purpose, to fulfill the purpose of our life, and to experience the present moment. The concept of cultivation is simply to remove the clouds. To remove the clouds. It's the process of cleansing, like you clean the mirror. Our true self is like a piece of mirror. This mirror, it's filthy, it's dirty. So the process of cultivation is to clean the mirror, not to change the mirror, because the mirror is already there. We just have to clean it. So here it's like a comparison chart between the true self and false self. This will help us to understand how does this false self related to the past and the future. So let me go through it line by line. On the left is the true self column. On the right is the false self column. Here I put down false self is the manufacturing default setting. So everything that's false self is physical. It has color. It has name. It's very colorful. Like our memory, it's very vivid. It's very exciting. I remember when I just got married in my late 20s. My husband is more like a very active person. We work on Monday to Friday. But when Saturday comes, he will say, what can we do? Let's get out of town. Let's get out of town. So every Saturday and Sunday, we will just get out of town so that we don't get bored. And my kids is the same too. I mean, when they are small, they get agitated by this. They say, Mom, I'm so bored. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? It sounds like they have some kind of illness. They need to be cured. My kids constantly say, oh, Mom, I have nothing to do. I feel so bored. And I feel so painful because I feel so peaceful just to stay home. But they always want to move. They always want to do something. And as a mom, I have to fulfill my duty. So I become active with them. Of course, I did not live in my present moment, and I feel that was a painful experience. But I just play along with the kids, just want to fulfill my duty as a mom. So kids are like that. Kids are like that because this is their manufacturing default setting. I don't remember what I was before. I remember I was just more quiet. But most kids, most social beings are looking for something colorful, something exciting, emotional. And because there's a lot of emotional things involved, there's so much excitement. But the excitement cannot always stay exciting all the time. Sometimes they will be in the downside. So therefore, the emotional aspect can be like a roller coaster. In our daily life, there will be sunshine, and we will also experience darkness. We experience happiness. We also experience fear, nervous. It's full of drama. And this drama is so exciting for our false self, because our false self constantly want to grab us to the future moment and the past moment. Our false self constantly want to make us to be part of the actor in that movie, so that we constantly play our role, be our own character. However, the true self is totally different. True self is very peaceful, relaxed, and although it's peaceful and relaxed, but the energy is abundance, and this energy, the spirit, it's continuously. It's totally different from the false self. And true self is full of love. True self, I love myself. Because I love myself, I love everybody too. False self, oh, I'm not good enough. I deny myself. I want to compare myself to you. You live in a big house, mine is small. I hope I can be like you. I'm not good enough. And I also use that judgment to judge others. Therefore, I also deny others too. That's why our society becomes separate. I identify myself so much. I validate myself as somebody special, somebody unique. Nobody know my story as I do. I'm special. I have a special character in my storybook. It's a totally different concept than true self. True self, the concept is we are all together as one. So the true self focus in the present moment and see everything beautiful, even if there's blemish. The true self accept the blemish, because it's the blemish that makes life beautiful. So any mistake or defect can be interpreted as a beauty. But the false self look at the past and the future, compare my present time with the past, and I have illusion with the future. I compare myself with others, and I focus on the negative part. Say I set a goal for myself for tomorrow, and if tomorrow comes, I cannot fulfill myself. I focus on the negative part. I not only focus on my own negative part, I also focus on your negative part. I focus on everybody's negative part, and I see a lot of problem in me. I also see a lot of problem in the society, and I see everybody is living in hell, including me. But the true self look at everybody as beautiful, and I am living in heaven. So you see how different aspect is the true self and false self. And this one here, true self, of course, living full of joy, light, and love. False self, because false self focus much on the past. There's a lot of remorse, regret, and also pride. I pride myself. I pride myself. I have so much big ego, and I have this big ego. I tend to compare myself with you. So again, here there's a sense of separation. And true self, here, the true self, when there's anything comes in life, whether it's difficulty, struggle, sorrow, true self can let go easily, because true self accept this is part of the life experience. We are here to learn. Any difficulty, any challenge, any experience is to help me to grow spiritually, so that I can carry on this spiritual journey. Because in the past, I haven't fulfilled my lesson plan. So this life, I continue to learn. I can let go of everything easily. But false self grasp everything very tight. False self remember all the past. Remember You did this to me. How can you do this to me? You lied to me. You shouldn't do this to me. Why this happened to me? So everything becomes part of your whole consciousness. And true self find the strength within. The remote control of the life is whole within your true self. You decide what you want to do in your life. So our life is like watching a TV. So this TV has two channels. One is the channel of true self. The other one is the false self. The false self is this channel here, and the true self is this channel here. Imagine you are watching the TV, and this channel is constantly playing the scene of the Hindu song of you see, if you are not a spiritual practitioner, you will think that this is so boring. It's so boring, right? But this can bring you peace and love, although it's so dull, so plain. But this false self is full of excitement. And because this is our manufacturing default setting, most people choose this channel. If unfortunately you choose this channel, you are destined to suffer, destined to face a lot of difficulty. So all the suffering and the pain are actually brought by the small self or the false self. And this is the channel that you choose to watch. So next time when there's a situation come in life, I urge you to pick up the remote control and to choose the channel of the true self. Because if you choose the channel of the false self, it's like you're giving the remote control to other people to control what channel to watch, right? And most likely, they don't know what channel you like to watch. And they will just constantly changing channel, right? So have the remote control in your hand, watch the channel of true self. And the true self await you to discover if you realize that you are being trapped by this false self. So which channel you choose is very crucial. So here I want to take you to the Heart Sutra. As we know, this is the Buddhism sutra from the Mahayana. When we read any sutra, usually the first few lines are very important. Heart Sutra has 260 words. This 260 words is a condensation of Mahayana teaching. Study Mahayana teaching, you will want to study the Heart Sutra. And if you want to condense the Heart Sutra into a smaller condensed version, that will be the first 4 lines, which is this 4. And if you want to condense this Heart Sutra into one simple concept, that will be this term here, Guan. Guan, it means to observe. Unfortunately, when it's translated into English, the content is being omitted. So in English, this is often translated as Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. This is the English translation. But in Chinese, it means observe yourself, observe the Bodhisattva inside of you. So let me read it to you in the English version. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. When practicing deeply in the prajna paramita, practice deeply the perfection of wisdom, perceives that all 5 skandhas are empty and is safe from all suffering and distress. So these 4 lines are the most important 4 lines from this 260 character. And if you will condense into one word, that will be this character here, which I highlighted in red. So here, the common usage of this symbol is to see. Of course, we understand see is not seeing it through our eyes. We want to observe through our conscience, to see, look, and observe. And it's used several times in the Tao Te Ching. Tao Te Ching, I think it has been used 9 or 10 times. In Buddhism term, it means to contemplate or meditate upon, but with the connotation of investigating or examining a concept in order to see things as they really are. So the concept of Guan is to contemplate. How can you contemplate? In order to contemplate, you have to stop. You have to stop, and you have to have that determination to stop. I'm going to stop my thought here. I'm going to stop my thought of thinking about the past. I'm going to stop the thought of thinking about the future, because if you can stop, you can heal yourself and you can create small happiness within your life. So this character is another perspective as our topic for today, which is living in the present moment, being mindfulness or wu-wei. This is the source of happiness. Imagine if you are eating a piece of bread. In the morning, you are eating a piece of bread. You pick up that bread and you look at this bread. What is this bread made of? It's made of wheat, and wheat comes from crops. And the farmer spend much effort growing crops. And where does crops come from? Comes from earth, comes from fire, comes from wind, comes from water. So the wheat or the bread, it's a creation from the universe, right? So when you look at this bread, it's an ambassador from God. If you can enjoy your bread by living in that present moment, you create small happiness in your life. You drink coffee. Every sip you drink, you enjoy that moment. You think about water. Where does water come from? Water comes from the universe. And when you walk, do you walk? When you walk, we do walk, right? Like sometimes we do morning walk, afternoon walk, or maybe we don't have time, we walk once a week. So when we walk, we take a deep breath. We breathe in the air. In order for us to live in this physical body, we rely on this breathing of air. And without this air, we will not be able to survive physically. Then we think about the universe. Then we think about we are part of the universe. We are the creation of the universe. We come from the universe. And if we can see in that aspect from everybody, and when I see a stranger coming towards to me, and when we walk slowly, I see the other being as a creation of the universe. Don't you love that person? Don't you feel happy? Because we are all living in this universe. We are all part of the creation of God. We come from the same source. Doesn't that give you the source of joy and happiness? When you walk, you see the flower. You enjoy the flower? Can we take a moment enjoying the flower? Every day, do you see the sunshine? And do you see the sunset? Spring is coming. Do you appreciate the 4 seasons, the spring, summer, autumn, and winter? Why there's 4 seasons? If we always have the season of spring, wouldn't that be so boring? But the universe provides us 4 seasons so that we can experience different seasons within a year. Isn't that wonderful? Can we enjoy that moment? But a lot of time, we spend a lot of time using on the cell phone, using the computer. So when we use the computer, use the cell phone, we forget to live in the present moment. And sometimes our body is wanting to get the nourishment from the universe, from the true self. The body wants to communicate. The body is a representation from the false self. And the body wants to communicate with the true self, but we don't allow our body to communicate with the true self. That's why we have the sense of suffering. So this character is very important. It helps us to understand where the suffering comes from. So if we have the determination to stop, to think about the present moment, to focus on the present moment, because the present moment, it includes the past, and it's also the beginning of the future. Our future depends on the present, right? In a scripture of deliverance of Maitreya Buddha, there's this line here, 劳酸一马念无声. In English, it's a translation of keep a tight rein on the horse like that so that it will not arise. So this is an explanation of our thought. It's constantly being trapped or constantly being controlled by the false self. And it's very important that we can observe our true self constantly interact with each other. So in the future, it's something that we need to look into, because the false self makes us feel past is so real and so precious. Same thing for the future. The future is an illusion, because in the future, we tell us, I must get what I want. I have a goal and I establish a goal and I have to fulfill. A lot of time we hear birthday wishes from family, like a happy birthday to you. We hear a lot of birthday wish, but we all know that sometimes the wish are not realistic, especially in the wedding wishes. In the wedding wishes, sometimes we say, oh, hopefully the marriage will long last, happy marriage. And sometimes I wonder, really? Just a wish. It's really just a wish, because we know that in reality, marriage will not bring happiness to the couple every day. Marriage is like a business. There is like so many aspects that we need to look at. So many aspects. There's the financial aspect, there's the marketing aspect, because we constantly have to tell our spouse, oh, you did such a great job, this and that. And then the financial aspect is we need to make sure the income comes in. The accounting aspect, you need to balance the book. So sometimes the marriage wishes are just not realistic, I think. So these are the illusion. And we often give us the fairy tale, oh, this person is going to marry happily after. But we know this is not true. And because sometimes we deny the truth, therefore disappointment and pain will come. Our life is supposed to be beautiful. Our life is supposed to be beautiful in the sense that any struggle, difficulty, challenge is part of the life. They are all there for us to grow. So we have to understand that in terms of the true self. But for the people who does not understand this aspect, they often try to meet their expectation with reality. And what happens is that the reality and expectation does not meet. That's why the fairy tale will fall apart, and they will think that it's a mistake. My life is a mistake. I'm not good enough. So if we live in that channel of false self, there's abundance of opportunity for disappointment and pain, such as we often say, it shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be like this. Why does this happen to me? Do I deserve this? We often hear this, right? What did I do to deserve this? Why did I get a broken tire? This and that. And that's because the false self gives us this kind of illusion. In our life, we're supposed to have up and down so that we can continue to learn in our life from the previous life. Think about our life is like going to school. We were in elementary school, and then now we in first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and we eventually want to move to high school, college level. So it depends on where you are. Anything that comes in life, we just have to take it as is. Whatever it doesn't meet your expectation, it's okay. So our illusion from the false self, it kind of bound these two together. So you really have to understand the programming of the false self. If you understand, life is not so bad. So if we are aware of the aspect of the false self, it's a manufacturing default program. If we are aware of this, we can be free and we can break away from illusion, right? Once we are aware of it, we can train ourselves to live in the present moment. In our life, we are never taught that we have this true self. We always are used to live in our false self because we are so accustomed to live with our physical body, with our physical sensation. We are taught by our family, taught by our society, taught by TV commercial, advertising, everything. So we are never taught to experience the present moment through our true self. So once we understand this, we can be more aware. And any moment that comes, we can immerse ourselves into our true self. And we can immerse ourselves in Tao. What about wines? If we have good wines, it's better to have wine that's being made or being fermented for a long time. So we want to immerse ourselves in Tao. So this takes practice. The more practice that you do, the more you practice on living in the present moment, the more you can have the remote control on your hand. You will not be controlled by your false self because the false self is the manufacturing program. Sometimes it's very difficult to break away, but it can be done. It just needs time to practice. So experience the present moment. It's important. In our life, difficulty comes, but those difficulty, I want you to look at them as opportunity for us to grow. The difficulty will not come if it's not your lesson to learn. So sometimes we will think, why does this always happen to me? Like repetitive problem. And that's because you have not learned a lesson. And if you learn a lesson already, then there will not be so much problem. For me, as an example, sometimes I see in the past, I will see somebody that I don't like, and then I see this person I don't like, and the next person I don't like this person I don't like. So when you don't like a certain person, a lot of time you find that you don't like the other person. But then if you train yourself, you choose your channel to the channel of true self. If you start liking you, loving you, and you love the other person same as you start to love anybody around you, including birds and animals, because you integrate their life together with yours. It takes practice. Sometimes, say, I wake up with a joyful mood, and the rest of the day, I'll be so joyful. Have you ever experienced that? But sometimes if you feel really bad and then you carry that continuously, your whole day will also be ruined too. So if you can live in the present moment, you see how easy it is to break away that moody mind. So when the situation comes, just embrace them, accept them, and grow from them. And here I want to share with you the first verse from the Diamond Sutra. In the earlier slide, I mentioned that any sutra that we read, usually the first few verses are very important. And here I come across this one. The Diamond Sutra number 1, Convocation of the Assembly. So this talks about Buddha is going to host his first sermon in this sutra. Thus I have heard once the Buddha was staying in this park, in the Java Grove in Shrewsbury with a community of 1,250 bhikkhus. And the yellow part is what I want you to focus. When it was meal time, the world honor one. The world honor one means Buddha. Put on his robe, took his armball, went into the great city of Shrewsbury. So this describes when it's meal time. Buddha wants to demonstrate us. When it's meal time, you eat. You focus on whatever you want to do in that present moment. So it's meal time. So Buddha do whatever he needs to do in that present moment. And he go from house to house, beg for food. That's the same as us. We prepare the meal in our kitchen. And when this is done, he returned to the abiding place. And he returned. He's living in the present moment. He finished his meal. He focused on his present moment and he finished his meal. He does not carry his past. He does not think about he's going to host a session. And when he finished the meal, he put away his robe and balls. So this is one action. Each action is distinct very clearly. And when it's getting ready for sermon, he washed his feet, arranged his seat, and sat down. So this illustrates to us, when you sleep, you sleep. When you eat, you eat. When you drive, you drive. You know, a lot of time I did not do this. It was only until recent time I understand how important this is. Many times when I leave the house, I have a garage door that I have to close. And sometimes when I pull my car out of the garage door, my mind is thinking of something else, and I close the door, and while my mind is thinking of something else, and I leave the house. And then when I'm like 2 or 3 blocks away, I think, did I close the door? So then I have to go back and then make sure the door is closed and then come out. So a lot of time I forgot to close my garage door. I forgot to turn off my stove after I cook. I caught myself. I did that very often. So now what I do is that when I close the door, I make sure I live in the present moment. I watch the door close and then I leave. So that's like living in the present moment. And then when I finish cooking, I turn the knob slowly and I watch myself. I turn the knob slowly and turn it to the off position. I mean, every one of us have to train ourselves living in the present moment. I learned how to close the garage door by living in the present moment. That's how I do it. So I encourage you do that. And a lot of people, they don't live in the present moment, and sometimes they forgot, did I do this or did I do that? So if you are caught in that situation, it's just the practice that you have to do. So here is a scripture from the scripture of clarity and tranquility. So here I highlighted the yellow part is the true self, and the gray part is the false self. So here, the human spirit is fond of clarity. So this first verse is talking about the true self, but the heart and mind disturb it. The false self disturb it. On the next one, the true self is the fond of clarity, but the false self, the desire, interfere with it. Be able to constantly discard your desire, being able to constantly discard your false self, and your heart and mind will naturally be tranquil. Settle your heart and mind, and your spirit will naturally be clear. So when you look at this scripture, you will understand which one is the true self and the false self, and you can identify that easily. So same thing for us, when the mind, when our thought comes in and go, if we can identify which one is it, then we can identify which channel we choose and which self that we are living in according with. In Tao Te Ching, chapter 20, it talks about a similar thing, which resonate with our topic for today. Broad-minded, like the ocean wave, aimless like the gusty wind. So this talks about we are like the kite on a boat on the ocean. We move along with the wind. We move along with the wave. There's no anchor on the past. There's no anchor on the future. So it's broad-minded. We are open. We are not settled in anywhere. We are aimless according to the flow of the ocean. So life is really like the flow of river. The flow penetrates and nurtures us. Imagine we are that drop of water, but our drop of water is in that river. We flow along with the river. So this river, it's our life. It's the life of everybody else. We are part of the river. We are part of the universe because the river is derived from the universe too. So we are part of it. So when it flows this way, we welcome it and we accept it, embrace it, we experience our life and we resonate with it. So occasionally there might be branch or rocks on the way. So the branch and the rocks represent the learning opportunity for us to grow spiritually. And when those come, embrace them. We don't want to reject it or deny it. Think about we are playing the chess. We are not the creator of life. We are the co-creator of life. We are playing the chess with other people, with other opponents. When you're a chess player make the move, you want to make your move according to the other person. You cannot say, why did you do that? Why do you want to kill me? Why do you want to take my bishop away? Or why you want to take away my queen? We cannot. We have to play along with the game. So this is the flow of life. We flow with others, but we are not a controller of the game. We are only the co-creator of this game, of this flow. So having an opponent, it gives us opportunity to grow. Imagine if you want to increase your chess skill or your, what about basketball skill? Can you practice by yourself? The only way to build up your skill is to play with others too, right? So that's why we are on this earth. We are playing with other people so that we can learn from our skill. We can build up our skill. We can master our basketball technique. In this case, we are learning our life skill according to the people around us. So all the people in our family, in our society, they are here to enhance our basketball skill or our tennis skill, right? So if you can think of it that way, you want to play the game in that present moment. You don't want to think about the past move. You want to focus on your present moment. And when you focus on the present moment, it's so joyful. It's effortless. You don't play with an intention to win the game. Of course, the intention is to win the game, but the most importantly is to build up your spirituality so that we can learn together. This is the effortless learning. Effortless because you welcome it, you embrace it. This is called wu-wei. So the purpose of our life is to learn and evolve. Why? Because our life does not stop here. Living in the present moment, this is the common term. Another term is called mindfulness. In Taoism term is called wu-wei. Living in the present moment will decide all the possibility in the future because future is depending on the present moment, right? Whatever our future is, it really depends on the present. It doesn't mean that we cannot plan the future. We can still have goals. we can still have expectation, but we don't spend a lot of time making that planning. We don't do it 24/7. Once the planning is made, we have to come back to the present moment. Say I want to write a book. I want to publish a book, say 2 or 3 years from now. I have this goal. Can I always think about I have this goal every day without writing, without picking up my pen? I cannot. So I can still have my goal. I can still have my planning. But once my goal is set, I have to come back to the present moment to start my every move, because all the move starting from this moment will lead up to that future. All the present moment eventually will fulfill the future. It doesn't mean that we do not plan for the future. We can still plan for the future, but not be limited, not daydreaming about the future. We still have to start from the groundwork. And the present moment include all the past, because just like the analogy that I give it to you, the chess that we are playing now, we are already in the middle of the game. All the move lead up to the situation now. Therefore, we don't need to constantly remind ourselves the past move that we made. We don't have to constantly remind ourselves regretting whatever we did. We just accept whatever it comes without resentment. So the past is the past. It's an album, but we don't need to open it so frequently. So living in the present moment allow us to see the precious style, allow us to embrace our true self, and we can embrace ourselves with love, and we can also embrace others with love, and we will no longer be limited by our false self. I have a quote from Tienshin: "The present moment is the only moment available to us, and it is the door to all moments." And that's very true, because the present moment includes all the past, and the present moment is also the building block for the future too. Here is our last slide. Zen Master Tienshin passed on January 22nd this year. And without him, we would not know the term of mindfulness. He spent all his life teaching about the concept of mindfulness. Before him, a lot of Westerners does not know the concept of mindfulness. Mindfulness is another term for living in the present moment. If we want to live in the present moment, you can look into his video on YouTube. He teaches about the mindfulness. He teaches us that how to live happily in the present moment, and the only way to truly develop peace, both in oneself and in the world, is to live in the present moment. And we are very sorry for his past. He's our spiritual leader. Happy New Year is just a few days away. I want to wish you all Happy New Year's, good health, and enjoy your each moment in your Tao cultivation. If mistakes were made or said during today's sharing, I ask the forgiveness from the Heavenly Mother, Buddha, Maitreya, Jigong Buddha, Patriarchs, Suzun Simu, Grand Master, and Senior and Junior Master Leaders. Thank you so much. Thank you.